motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to vice chairman. I nominate Merle.
Second.
This is just a little party over here. Where are y'all?
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further additions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. And our TLN representative, Curtis, you've represented us for a few years now. Would you like to continue doing that as well?
I would like to nominate Curtis. Oh, you are going to do it.
Sure, I'll do it.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Moving on, I'll call to order our regular scheduled meeting. First item up is approval of our agenda. I do have one change that I need to make under financial report under our agenda. We have listed to approve the June and July financial report. I would like to change that from approve to discuss or present on both of those. That's all the changes that I have. Does anybody else have any changes, additions, or deletions? Hearing none,
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
all right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to the Otho Brown Scholarship.
So it's that time of year again. So Kathy, come on up. Kathy Brown, as always, joins us at the August meeting to help present the annual Otho Brown Scholarship. This has been in existence since 2003, and it provides scholarship funds for any Clinton City School teacher who wants to further their education with a master's degree or add-on endorsements of any kind. It goes to help them pay their tuition at the University of Tennessee. So since its conception in 2003, Kathy Brown has donated $116,056. And so we have definitely been a great recipient of this Otho Brown Scholarship. It has definitely been a critical part in our tradition of excellence and us providing wonderful future educational opportunities for our teachers in the city. So we greatly appreciate her support and contribution. This year we have, she's receiving this for the second year in a row, but Miss Whitney Hawkins is currently attending the University of Tennessee. She's receiving her degree in school administration, and she is currently doing her internship and getting her hours at South Clinton Elementary School under the leadership of Leanne Bonesteel. And if you've ever been a single principal in a school without an assistant principal of any kind, people like Whitney really come in handy as Leanne has to be in meetings and sometimes is not available. But she has stepped in and has done a tremendous job as an administrative assistant and as our designee when Leanne is not in the building. She's learning great things at the University of Tennessee. As we know, University of Tennessee always produces quality candidates out of their program. So Whitney, we'd like to invite you to come on up. And Leanne was waiting outside for new teachers. Leanne, can you snap over a quick picture, please? While you present her.
Thank you.
Jim, do you want to come up?
No, go ahead.
You don't want to come up and join us?
We won't wrap arms around each other like we normally do.
You know, I can't stand beside you and not give you a hug.
So you stand on that end. Try to get it centered. Thank you. Congratulations.
And Kathy, thank you so much. You've been such a help and just absolutely helping our school system out. Thank you so much. All right. Our new teachers back from the front?
Yes,
All
I
of
have
them? All right.
new peeps to introduce you to tonight. We are so excited about our new employees that have joined the Clinton City Schools family this year. As you can see, there are fewer people out here than normal. We did not have a very high turnover this year. I politely uninvited, I do have some custodians that I want to, at least for you to become familiar with their names. We did not invite the custodians to come tonight because they were busy cleaning the buildings, and that has to be of utmost importance as we're trying to keep schools reopened at this point. So we gave them a pass, and we hopefully at some point during this course of the school year, we can invite them back so that you can put a face with a name. But we will start, and guys, the way we're going to do this is going to look a little differently than we normally do. We normally make you stand up, and we come and we shake your hands and give you a great big welcome. We're not going to be shaking your hands today, but we're just going to give you a virtual hug and a virtual handshake. So you'll stand up and let them see who you are, and then you'll sit back down. And then after we introduce everybody, we'll dismiss you out the front, and then Gwen Payne's going to be on the front of the steps to take a new staff picture. And at that point, Whitney Hawkins, as much as I know that you love school board and how much fun we have approving policies and procedures, you're welcome to stay, but you're also welcome to go because I know you're probably exhausted after teaching all week. So first up, Mackenzie Justice, if you would please stand. So Mackenzie is joining us. She is going to be a resource teacher at South Clinton Elementary School this year. Our sweet Kristen Penley, that was resource teacher there, is getting ready to have her very first child. And so she is currently also in the resource room, but will be leaving us very soon. And then she's going to take the rest of the year off for maternity leave. And so Mackenzie joined us as a UT intern last year in special education, and she actually interned under Kristen at South Clinton Elementary School. And so we felt like that was just a really good setup since she had spent the year with Kristen and had learned the Clinton City way and the South Clinton way, and she knew the classroom and knew the kids. It just made sense for her to come and join us. So this is going to be, so since UT does a year internship, this will actually be her second year of teaching, so she's not coming to us brand new, but we are just very excited. If you know Mackenzie personally, she has a deep, deep heart and love of special needs students and has a great amount of experience through her church and through some extracurricular activities. She does the Joni and Friends Camp, am I pronouncing it the right way, every summer, a special needs camp for children, and just donates a lot of her extra time with special needs students. So she's going to be a welcomed addition. So Mackenzie, we welcome you, and we're all going to give you a nice little handshake from up here. Next up, we have Kristen King. So Kristen King and child number 1 is with her today. But Kristen is coming to us. She is the new school nurse at Clinton Elementary School. And so she is, she joined us about a week and a half ago. She, in the past, has been with Cherokee Health and has been doing telehealth services for Sevier County students. And so she actually has her nurse practitioner license. She'll be working as a school nurse for us at this point, but she does come with that level of knowledge and experience. But she's bringing 2 of her 3 children to us, to Clinton Elementary School, and she has come in and just has provided some great input. She's coming in at a very difficult time, so her knowledge and expertise certainly is going to serve us well, but she has just fit right in, and Jenna has said she's just gelled right with the staff and with the front office. And so Kristen, we welcome you to Clinton City Schools. And next we have Abby McBride. And so Abby McBride comes to us. She's, of course, born and raised Clinton City Schools alumni. And we're not going to talk about where she went to high school, but but she is a Clinton City Schools alumni. And anyway, she also was with us last year. She was in 4th grade with Mackenzie Hutchison last year, and so she spent the year in 4th grade at Clinton Elementary School. And so just when an opening came up in Clinton Elementary School in 2nd grade, if you remember, we moved Jill Turbyville out of 2nd grade to let her do our best class, and so that created an opening. And so once again, she had spent the year at Clinton Elementary School and knew the Clinton City way and has a deep love for Clinton City. And you know that her family does a whole lot for our community as well. So she has just gelled right in. It's hard for me to even think of her and Mackenzie as being new because they were with us all last year. But we welcome you, Miss Abby. And then finally, we have Brianna Rittenhouse. And so Brianna, this was just like, sometimes things just, it's just like manna falling from heaven, and you just find the perfect fit. So we had a second grade position opening at North Clinton. And so we had met her at a job fair at UT. And so she came in for the interview, and Monica Rael held the interview at North Clinton. And it was like she just felt a part of us. She has a deep love for teaching students in poverty. And while she actually did her internship in Lenoir City, she came to North Clinton, and it took her 3 seconds to fall in love with that sweet school. And so she said she knew at the beginning of the interview that this is where she wanted to be, and we knew at the beginning of the interview that we needed to grab her up fast. And so she has worked diligently all summer on her classroom, but I saw her in action actually yesterday when I was walking through the halls of North Clinton, and you would never ever know that she was early in her career. She's already a seasoned teacher with a deep dedication for students. So welcome, Brianna. We're so glad that you are with us. So I wanted you to see the board. Let me introduce them to you very, very quickly, just so that you know. We are very unique in Clinton City Schools in the fact that we are a small system, and so sometimes in larger systems, you'll get school boards that represent different geographical regions, and so there's a lot of advocating for a specific set of schools. You will not find that at Clinton City Schools. They do serve 3 different regions, but they serve all the schools, and so there is no favoritism shown for one school over the other. And I firmly believe in my heart that when they come here, it's not a paid position like it is in many school systems. So they come here with the pure intent of nothing but to support teachers and to make decisions in the best interests of kids. And so they ask good questions to make sure that we're always serving kids to the best of our ability, but you will not find a more dedicated school board who appreciates the work that you do and is willing to support the work that you do in any way that they can. So we have David Queener down here at the end. David Queener is retired from the Clinton Police Department, and he is enjoying his retirement greatly. And but he has a granddaughter, Adeline, that goes to Clinton Elementary School. So he brings a very good school safety perspective. He brings a grandfather perspective, but he is very, very supportive of the work we do at Clinton. Then we have KK Webster. So KK is a physical therapist / realtor / mom of 5 / grandmother of 3.
And I'm a Clinton City Schools alumni.
And she's a Clinton City Schools alumni. So she just has a deep passion. All of her children went through Clinton City Schools. Her daughter teaches at Clinton City Schools, but Clinton City Schools has been a part of your all's life forever. And so she brings a great mother, grandmother, community member perspective to our board.
I was looking at everybody's first day back to school, on Facebook all week. This is the first year in 28 years that I've not had some child's first day of school. But next year I've got a grandbaby going to kindergarten, so there's
1 year hiatus. Just
Take
1
1
year
year off.
Just 1 year. Just 1 year. Then we have Dr. Tim Bible, and so he's our board chair, and he is a local dentist. His dentist office is located actually right next door in between the courthouse, right across from the middle school. But he has served on the board just a few years. I'm not going to say how many because it will show your age, but for a while, 15, 16 years he's been on the board. But anyway, he has been, I hate to say you've been around long enough to know kind of the way that things happen, but he has a very good perspective of how schools run and they're organized because of his vast experience serving on the board. Did I word that well?
You just call me old.
experience.
Okay, yeah.
So both of his children went through Clinton City Schools as well. So I think that's what initially got him involved with the board, and now we just won't let him leave. So Dr. Tim Bible. Then we have Merle Price. Merle Price is a retired Clinton City Schools teacher and administrator. She used to be the principal at North Clinton Elementary School. You will see how beloved Merle is still up there at North Clinton Elementary School. And in fact, Monica is where she is right now because of Merle Price, because she actually hired Monica when Monica was a young little peep. And so Merle is the one who saw something special in Monica, and we certainly have benefited from that. But she now is retired, and so she she has come back to serve on the school board, so she brings a very wonderful perspective of being a teacher and a former administrator. She's dealt with lots of issues that she can bring good perspective. Most of all, she loves Clinton City Schools in North Clinton, and right now she is helping her. Are you still helping your husband?
Yeah.
So right now she volunteers her time for her husband, who's an orthodontist in Clinton, and you can see the excitement of how she loves donating her time. Then down here we have Joey Smith, and Joey Smith is a local realtor with Sellers Realty in the town of Clinton, and he actually has 2 children that are now attending Clinton City Schools, and one of them is a kindergartner, and Joey's come a long way. Because
Not really.
Not really.
Joey, when his daughter went to kindergarten, all the principals had to start having coaching conversations with him about how he could not be a helicopter dad and stay inside the classroom all day long. We were gonna force him to leave, and he's not been a helicopter daddy at all. In fact, his children are beautiful and wonderful, and they are just a wonderful family. But he does a whole lot of work with the community. He's done a whole lot of publicity work trying to improve the perception of the schools within Clinton, all of our schools plus all the city, county schools as well within Clinton. So he's a big proponent of Clinton, and he does like to dress up in costumes, so you may or may not see him in a costume outside of Clinton Elementary on a morning coming soon, Jenna
That
Sharp.
was supposed to be a secret.
It's supposed to be a secret. Now the whole world knows, so. Then finally, last but not least, we have Curtis Isbell at the end, and he is a local attorney in town, and his office is also located just right down the road across from Clinton Elementary School. But he is also, he's grown up in Clinton, and we won't talk about what high school you went to either, Curtis, but he's grown up in Clinton, works in Clinton. Both of his children, one is still at Clinton Elementary School. One has moved on and graduated from us. But his wife does a lot of volunteer work at Clinton Elementary School, and they are just a big part of the community and big supporters of Clinton City Schools. So as you see, we've got a great representation. Everybody brings kind of a different perspective and is able to give different input to the decisions that we make. But they are really good people who support you. So I wanted you to know who they are, and they are happy to help you maneuver your first year in any capacity that they can. So with that said, I know you're tired. Thank you for coming. Thank you for meeting our wonderful school board. We're going to let you all be dismissed, and Gwen will meet you on the front steps for our annual back to school picture. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, I was thinking when I came in. All right, moving on, we have our consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion to approve our consent agenda.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Moving on, this will be our information regarding our June and July financials. With Mr. Ray.
I apologize for not having the formal financial statements for June and July prepared for y'all.
He's
But
been
I'll-
doing a little thing called a CES edition. Just a little project.
It's, I guess the highlights, kind of big picture, where we were at June 30th, that I can tell you, we have about $4.6 million in cash. And that equates to basically our fund balance. I always say you can't spend fund balance, you can only spend cash. So that's the most important number. I anticipate us ending our June 30th, 2020 fiscal year with a $250,000 to $300,000 surplus. All right, so that's the positives. And now our sales tax pre-COVID was running between $150,000 and $175,000 a month. And that's a good indicator of where the economy's going. Now, post-COVID, our sales tax has dropped to between $120,000 and $140,000 a month. So we are experiencing a slight decline. But I want to note a couple things about that. In my opinion, unemployment equals sales tax revenue. So the federal government supported unemployment at $600 a week, and that kept sales and sales taxes inflated. So we're going to have to see where that goes in 2020 for the remainder of the year in 21. Many economists predict that 2021 is going to be the year that we start feeling the effects of this. Stimulus money that was delivered from the federal government, and that equals savings or cash. Many people don't spend that money, they save that money. Unemployment equals sales tax. We are currently, as of July, in an unusual state of affairs economically. We are experiencing a recession and the start of inflation simultaneously, and that doesn't happen a lot. That's an unusual place to be in economics. So all that being said, I always start positive and end on a real downer. I don't want you or the public to feel that, you know, we have this cash and we have a slight surplus to think that we should be doing more for our kids, spending money, or our teachers and salaries and benefits, or our facilities and improvements. We're right where we need to be. We have approximately a half a year's worth of expenditures in cash. If we experience a downturn in the economy, we're prepared for it. So we are in a good place. I just want to kind of give you those some of that data and more to come in August and September, obviously, on where we are in the recession or inflation. I think they call it stagflation is the new term for that. Any questions on kind of just in general where we are financially? July, again, nothing exceptional happens in July. It's 1 month of activity, nothing exceptional to report financially. It's normal and ordinary activity and very consistent where we were with July of last year. So in that being said, our sales tax going forward is pretty much going to match our sales tax from last year. So we've lost almost a year of growth in sales tax. And that's one of the reasons why we wound up in our budget with our salaries, trying to just keep those kind of flat and just go with the step increases. That made sense. We didn't experience or anticipate experiencing a lot of growth in revenue. So I still stand behind that decision. I think we were wise to do that. As far as you want me to go over the construction?
Yeah, if you can go over the construction, then
Or
possibly, I know like the cushion money that we had and kind of financially, some preliminary of where we're ending up with that.
Dr. Bob, did you have a question?
Yeah, with the expected recession inflation that's coming around, we're going to see an increase in interest rates, I'm assuming, associated with that.
If they want to stop inflation, we might want to see it, but I don't.
My question to you is variable interest rate loans that we currently have that we need to refinance now and lock in a lower interest rate before they go up?
All ours are locked in. And,
All ours are locked,
and
okay.
For financing of a facility or short-term in nature, they're not like a 20 or 30-year mortgage or a bond. I believe the financing for the addition is an 8-year note, 8 or 10 years, and I've got it in here.
I guess I was in reference to the previous addition that we did that is through the city. Is that on
That's
a variable?
locked. That's at a
That's
at a
locked as well,
locked
okay.
fixed rate, and I think we have another 8 to 10 years left on that.
Okay, so we're in a good position
Yeah,
on that.
our energy efficiency loans are 3/4 of a basis point, and that's nominal.
Okay.
So I think we're good there.
Okay.
But you're right, that would be the cure, but I don't think that the government will do that.
Okay. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you. Facilities-wise, on July 17th, I gave you a written update, number 2, as to where we were. I'll quickly run through it. $1.37 million is the contract. With $1.37 million, so $1,371,000. Think of the $71,000 as contingency. So, and if we didn't run into any contingency, the addition would cost us $1.3 million. Well, we ran into contingencies. The first one was rock, and lots of it. That was gonna eat up our contingency plus. So what we did was we altered the structure of our parking lot and our drive, and that's why we have a curb in there. If you haven't seen it, I think tonight we will. That was $15,800, but that saved us about $60,000 in rock removal and gained us, I think, 10 parking spots. The change order for rock is gonna eat up the remaining contingency. So now we're back to $1.37 million. The last contingency is a $31,000 plus or minus $1,000. I haven't gotten the official change order yet for a sprinkler line. They had to rerun the entire sprinkler line. The original line ran underneath the playground and was not on any plans that we had or the city had or that CUB had. And it was connected to a fire hydrant that no one was aware of. So they removed the fire hydrant to relocate it, and we ran into that issue. And that had to be, we couldn't connect to a line that was running under the building because I didn't know what kind of shape that line was in after they dug footers and had equipment on top of it. So we had to go around the building with a new line and connect. That's been done and will not stop us from occupying for fire code. So that'll bring us to about $1.4 million to end. We're gonna sit down with the contractor and have some chats next week about some other things, but I'm very pleased with the work that was done and is still being done. They're working on a punch list right now in the interior of the building. Exterior, the only thing that's left is landscaping. The exterior, asphalt. They've got a binder down, which looks like asphalt, but it's not. They'll stripe it, put the parking curbs in, and we're good there. And then some sidewalk to finish up. But, the architects were there this afternoon going through punch list, and that is just marks on the wall, problems with the tile, anything they can visually see or inspect, and then the mechanical and the structural and those two engineers are only left. They'll come and do a punch list as well, just to make sure everything's tidy. Any questions for me? Sorry, that wasn't as short as sweet as.
No, that was, and I just want to go, I mean, I know I've said this before, but he has done an amazing job with this addition, and certainly I will be public about my lack of knowledge about construction, and so he certainly has filled a hole that I did not have the expertise to do, but he has really been on top of it. It has been a very time-consuming project of which he has graciously attacked, but he has done a great job working with the contractors and keeping them on point.
I think that's a low contingency number too. I think we got real lucky with that.
Yeah, it's, the contractor's willing to talk with me about some numbers and where we finally wind up, but,
Overall, he has been very good to work with.
absolutely,
Been
absolutely.
very pleased with him.
I definitely would use them when we hopefully move on to expand South Clinton Elementary School.
All right, any further questions or comments for Mr. Ray? Scott, thank you for all you do.
Thank
have
you.
been absolutely phenomenal in keeping us informed and doing a great job with the
I enjoy
construction
it.
as well. All right, moving on, we have new business to come before the board. We have a selection of revised policies and one new policy.
So it's just that time of year again. The legislative session ended, and so we usually have to do quite a few revisions and a few new policies every August, but these are all recommended by TSBA. As you can see that I did go in and do a few small edits with just the wording, and when we had to fill in the blank of who would be the person that would do that position. But overall, we kept the content that TSBA recommends. In those policies, you'll see that I'm not, unless they absolutely ask for a name, I just put a position in there, just so as we move down the road, as those position changes, we're not having to revise all kinds of policies just to change a name. And so when you look in there, I think it's under the harassment policy, there has to be several different people on staff that deal with different parts of that process. And so, of course, the supervisor of human resources at this point is Suzanne, because she handles all of our human resources for us. And then the supervisor of curriculum and instruction would be Lori Collins. And of course, the assistant director is Jamie Jordan. So just as you read through those, just so you would know who that currently would be. But there's no major changes. The child abuse and neglect, they did change a few of their reporting procedures, of which we will begin to follow. The only new one is just the Title IX and sexual harassment policy.
Okay. Anybody have any questions regarding any of those revisions or the new policy? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve all as presented on first and second reading.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on to reports and information from the principals.
We get to hear from principals tonight. Yay! I don't think we've heard from you since March when all of this started. So the supervisors have been working endless hours trying to get our virtual learning program up and running. So I did send them home tonight, but wanted you to have a opportunity to hear from the principals. So Leanne, since you're front and center, you come on up and let's talk South Clinton.
Well, no, we're excited to be back, and it's been a great week. I mean, just seeing those faces of these kids coming through the door and how happy they are to be back at school has been amazing. So we've had 3 successful sneak peek nights at South Clinton. We staggered it so that we only had 2 grade levels in the building at a time, so that families could still come in and see the classroom and get some paperwork filled out prior to sending their child to school for the first day. And we had a really great turnout. I think most of our homerooms had all but maybe 1 or 2 parents show up. So great turnout. The staff, they loved doing the staggered open houses. It was just very smooth and very calm, so it went great. And the staggered days that we've had gave the teachers and students time to learn all the new procedures about hygiene and hand washing and social distancing. And our nurse, Amanda May, went to each homeroom and did talked about proper hand washing and why it's so important. And our South Clinton Bear made an appearance with her to kind of help our littles in the primary hall learn about hand washing. I do want to say thank you to ADFAC. They are always really great about helping provide backpacks and school supplies to all our students. So we were able to provide everything that our students needed to them at the beginning of the school year, and that's always fun watching the kids come in and pick their backpacks and shop for their school supplies. So I always want to thank them. And we're going to have our first virtual assembly next Friday. So this is the first time that we're going to be doing it this way. Normally we gather all together in the multi-purpose room for our monthly assembly. But in honor of keeping everybody social distance, we are going to do it via Google Meet this time, but I felt like it was still important to recognize our kids. So we're going to recognize our students of the month and students who had perfect attendance, and I'm also going to give teachers the opportunity to send me brags on certain students or certain groups of students, because we still want them to know that we appreciate their accomplishments even though we can't all come together in a large group. So that's all.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you,
Bonesteel.
Leah.
Good things are happening. All right, Miss Jenna, come up and tell us about Clinton Elementary.
It is good to be back. So it's funny because I know Ms. Bonesteel was talking about all the procedures that we've gone over, and this has been such a calm start to the school year. And I think sometimes as adults, we fear the change more than the kids do, but they have came in every day they stick their heads out there ready for those temperature checks, and the masks are all shiny and new right now. So it's gone very, very well. We also had successful sneak peek nights. I think it did help calm the parents. We haven't, besides the kindergarten parents, had many walk the kids in. They just trust us. I think we've been transparent with them, so I think that's helped a lot. We would also like to thank the Clinton Community ADFAC and Memorial Methodist for providing supplies for our students. That also at our school, it's like, you know, it's such an experience to get to go shopping, and when the kids get to do it at school, it's just the same. So we appreciate that. We also want to celebrate the fact that WBR has came to our school several times and have done several segments. Emily DeVoe is going to be working with Stephanie Brock and Lauren Murphy, and she interviewed Miss Kidwell the other day, and she did a phenomenal job. And she's just going to be highlighting what it looks like throughout the school year. So we're very appreciative for them. Stagger and K First Day, their first day is going to be the 24th. Joey did pretty well today. He might have had
I
to
did not. It was bad.
He might have had to do this number and pull his mask up, to hide his face, but he is subbing tomorrow.
Yep.
So we're excited about that, and I'm sure that has nothing to do with Bennett. Oh, well, he won't be there tomorrow.
No, he won't.
But
I'm just pitching in.
Yes, thank you. We do appreciate that. Some of the things from our reopening plan that I want to come on, David. You can do it.
He said he wants to sign up for cafeteria
No, I'm not doing
monitoring.
that.
That's what he
You're getting all you're getting out of me, you're out of me.
So when it's coupon book time, I can remember that.
No, Miss, I was back there, I'm North Clinton then.
We'll talk about that later. Some of the things from our reopening plan that I want to highlight is just obviously for students and any visitors, we will be doing our temperature checks at the door. The students are eating breakfast in the classroom, and that has gone over very well. I think North Clinton already does that. But it's gone really well at Clinton Elementary School, so we appreciate Scott and the cafeteria, everybody working together for that. When you walk in the school, you'll see dots in the hallway, just gray dots to where they are supposed to stand, so they can social distance. And the cafeteria looks a little different, and it's a lot more quiet this year, so that's very nice. Our teachers had to turn in a plan for their classroom setup, so each teacher has thought thoroughly about how they're going to help the kids social distance. Dismissal, we are dismissing all students out of the classroom. So if you come in the afternoon and wonder where the kids are, they're all staying in the classroom until their names are called, and that has also been wonderful. We are doing Google Meet for dismissal.
Hey,
The
Ms.
kids-
Sharp, just a clarifying question. Has there been any parents who have impacted the traffic flow of dismissal since we've started this process?
You looking at this one?
Not too many. Not too many.
Just one?
Have you
I
got
feel
any?
attacked tonight, by the way.
Have you got any phone calls about our
I did. Joey
encouragement?
came and we looked at some landscaping, and I invited him to stay and watch our beautiful dismissal. And so I took him to the 4th grade classrooms where he was watching Google Meet unfold when a nice, beautiful announcement came over that we needed a car that just happened to meet his description to be moved. It was blocking the car right away. I've never seen Joey move so fast, but it was totally my fault because I'm the one who asked him to stay.
I want you to know every teacher I passed on the way out said, "Is it you?"
I'm gonna put it in my daily email tomorrow. Don't worry, guys. That car was Joey Smith.
It was
No
it
worries.
was my fault. I
Call
take
me out
ownership.
again, that's fine.
And then obviously you know that everybody has a partner class this year. So on the 20th, we will have our first PLC meeting, and we, let's just say we'll be working on schedules and planning. Susie and Marie have worked very, very hard this summer on a pacing guide to include the standards that they missed in the spring. So we're going to look at that, and then just pacing in case we were to have to go virtual, which we are never gonna do. But if we had to, we would know, yeah. We would know, kind of what that would look like. And then we have picture day coming up on the 27th. I can't wait to see the costume. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ms. Shaw.
Jana. All right, Ms. Rael, come talk to us about North Clinton.
Good stuff. I also want to say we had great open house turnout, probably more than I would have expected in so much smaller groups. We had about 37 different families attend over the 3 nights. And we also want to make sure and thank ADVAC for the backpacks and supplies for every student in every grade level. And then Richmond Federal Credit Union also did a community collection for donation of supplies to North Clinton as well. So that was really great. Our classes, a lot of what I kind of had planned to say was already stated tonight, so that's good. That means I have less to report. Thanks, girls. But anyway, all of our classes are working on their procedures, their social, emotional, and physical health. We've had the nurses go down and do every class has gone through the procedures of washing hands, and the little ones got to do the glow germ where they put the orange stuff on their hands. And I'm going to tell you, Katie Hernandez, our nurse, absolutely loves the glow germ tremendously. She thinks it's the greatest thing ever. The bright neon orange stuff. We will have our second leadership meeting this school year. We're going to follow up with an analysis of the last 3 years of state teacher surveys to determine some strengths and areas to strengthen for our students, but also our staff and our academic programs. And this information will be part of our school improvement plan. August 28th will be our fall picture day. And I did want to finish. Apparently, I've lost my ability to speak over the last several months. But we did want to finish. I had a teacher tell me yesterday that they had their little restorative circle time, and she said that they talked about their goals and their hopes and their fears for this school year, and she said their biggest fear for this school year is that schools will have to close again. So they are so happy to be back. Our teachers are happy to be back. We're happy to be back. It's been a great start, and thanks for the support that you guys give us all the time.
Thank you, Ms. Rowell.
Thank you.
That concludes our principal reports.
All right. Please note that our next board meeting will be September the 10th in the same location here. We have the fall district meeting that will be coming up September the 15th, which is a Tuesday. The meeting starts at 4:30, correct, Kelly?
Yes.
Okay. If you'll give us a time where you want us to meet, we usually take a van there if we're
Okay.
all going ahead there. Just let us know what time you need us to meet at central office in order to get there by 4:30. And then be looking for Kim's call to see how many will be able to attend that meeting. Also, that's when our awards go out as well.
Yes, we'll probably need an hour, I would say, to drive, so we'll probably at 3:30.
3:30, okay. And that's everything on the reports for information there, so we'll move on to our director's report.
Okay, so you have a copy of just some general announcements of what's going on in Clinton City Schools. Scott gave you the update about the CES edition nearing completion. I was able to talk to Sean, our on-site superintendent, a few days ago, and he thinks that we will have the certificate of occupancy early next week, or as he calls it, the CO. And then I had to politely say, could you please tell me what that is? And so he politely told me what that is, so I feel like I'm in the know. Our CO is going to be ready on Monday. School really has gotten off into a great start. The principals have done a great job of talking to you about our safeguards. The temperature checks have not slowed down. I mean, really, we're able to get kids in the building quickly. Breakfast in the classroom has gone seamlessly. Lunch, I think one of the best decisions that we made was starting with a staggered schedule. Having 2 grade levels a day really allowed us to work out some kinks in the cafeteria to show kids where to sit without large groups and worrying about somebody coming in on top of them. We were able to work out some dismissal and work out the Google Meet and the way that we're dismissing. I think when we come out on the other side of this, I've often said we won't do business the same in many ways. I think when we looked at the staggered sneak peeks and the staggered starts to the school year, that served us really, really well this year. And so we will probably hold some conversations about how we want that to look in subsequent years, even post-COVID. Right now, we have 90% of our students that have returned brick and mortar. We have currently, it changes by the minute, but right now about 112 of our students that have chosen the Clinton City Schools virtual program. We did the distribution of the Chromebooks on Tuesday evening, and they started their online learning actually on Wednesday morning. As with any new program, there are always beginning glitches and things and kinks that we had to work out that we weren't aware. Edgenuity is a new vendor that we're using. So we didn't have any prior experience other than just recommendations from other school systems. And so Dr. Jordan has been working very diligently, answering lots of emails and phone calls. Technology has been answering lots of phone calls. We've been able to work through the kinks, but you know, it's going to take us a few days to get everybody rolling and get it going smoothly. We have had about 5 students that have just decided that, you know, the virtual learning doesn't look like it did in the spring, where you do what you can do, and you know, there's a lot of grace. The state has made us submit a continuation of learning plan that was very, very comprehensive. And so if you are a virtual student, the expectation is that's a 7-hour school day, just like it would be if you attended brick and mortar. And so we had to send that plan in to get it approved by the state. And if you recall, we were the first district in the state of Tennessee that got that approval, and they actually used our plan as a model plan for other districts across the state. So super proud of the work that Lori Collins and her team did on that. But we are having them, there's a 2-week time frame that if it's just too much for them, or if they don't think that that is a good fit, that they can return back to brick and mortar. So I think we'll probably see a few of those probably return, but some of the parents are going to take it and they're going to do great with it, and it's going to be a great program. So we'll continue to support those and then reassess where we are in December to see if we need to continue to offer that for second semester, or if we're ready just to go strictly brick and mortar. So time will tell on that. So Boys and Girls Club is officially coming to Clinton Elementary School. So as you know, with the community center changing their, the way that, as Roger said, it doesn't do a whole lot of good for us to put all these safeguards into place if then it's a free-for-all at the community center. It's going to undo everything that we're trying to do to keep schools open. So the community center itself is still closed at this point, but when they do reopen, they are issuing new criteria that you have to be 14 years or older to be able to be there without an adult. And so we had a group of probably about 50 kids that went down and just kind of hung out there until the parents could come pick them up, but they weren't a part of the after-school program. So you've got that group of parents that now is looking for after-school care. And then the community center, in an effort to, in a response to COVID, they decreased the number of students that they were going to be able to take. So it kind of created a big supply and demand issue that had a lot of parents panicking. So the way that we've worked it out is the city of Clinton is going to host a program at North Clinton and South Clinton on site, and then they're also going to host a program at the community center for Clinton City School kids. But then the Boys and Girls Club, Mike Swisher could not have been more pleasant to work with, but he has worked diligently, swiftly, and enthusiastically to get to come to Clinton. And so when the community center opens their program on August the 17th, he will also open Boys and Girls Club, and that will function out of Clinton Elementary School. We already have 45 students enrolled. And so they're working hard to get that program up and running, but they will work out of the cafeteria, the little commons area outside the cafeteria. They're going to do homework on the auditorium stage, and of course they'll have access to the gym and the playground. And so at this point, our own Mindy Wilson, special ed teacher at North Clinton, is going to kind of serve as a site coordinator for that and be employed with Boys and Girls Club and help that get that up and running. So we look forward to offering that to the parents and truly appreciate Boys and Girls Club to coming to help us meet a need. As you may have seen, and I think I may have emailed you, Governor Lee took away our option at our last board retreat when we held our board meeting. We determined that we were going to be considered as critical infrastructure, and we talked to Chris McCarty about all the advantages and why we needed to do that. The governor, with no consultation of directors of schools or no communication with directors of schools, took away our right to be considered critical infrastructure. So this kind of created an outcry of both public public schools and charter schools. That he has now come back and has given additional guidance stating that local districts can choose to opt into critical infrastructure with school board approval under certain considerations, but he has not released what those considerations are. But there is going to be a list of requirements that we would have to meet in order to knock ourselves into critical infrastructure. So I can't really say that I'm going to recommend that at this time because I've not been able to see what that criteria is. I know for a fact that I feel like we have one of the best reopening plans. I feel solid about the safeguards that we are doing. I think that parents appreciate what we're doing. They also appreciate the areas that we're trying to give them some flexibility to determine what they think is best for their kid. So as soon as I get that criteria, I will call each of you and kind of tell you kind of what I'm thinking and how I think that will impact, and we'll make a decision at that point if we want to continue or if we don't. So more to come on that. And then yesterday, the House of Representatives passed a COVID liability business protection bill. And what that does is it's going to protect businesses, schools, churches, and nonprofits from frivolous COVID cases. So while I know we talked to Chris McCarty at our board retreat, and he felt really, really good about the fact that really we aren't in a litigious situation with reopening schools, this really gives it a little bit more teeth and gives us a little bit more to go on as we continue to reopen. So the best news of all is, as every principal said, is kids are back in the building. And I often get asked, how long do you think you'll be able to stay open? Hopefully with our safeguards, my goal is to stay open all year. We may have to close down a class, we may have to close down 2 classes, we may have to close down a grade level at some point. We don't know how we're going to rock and roll this year. I do know that we will rock and roll in some capacity because we're in the middle of a global pandemic. So we're putting mitigation strategies into place to try to minimize that. But we will have to, at some point, probably have to have some isolated response. But our goal is to keep it as isolated as we can and keep school buildings open for children and for parents. So if you've seen, I brought some of you all our annual shirts. Some of you already gotten your shirts because I've seen you. But as our staff and I have talked about, our goal is that we're getting the babies back in and we're going to love them first. Academics are going to come, but we're going to take care of their social and emotional needs first and get them back into a state of learning, and then we're going to take off with our tradition of excellence that we always do. So any questions for me?
Yep.
That
All right.
concludes my report.
All right. Great things are always happening at Clinton City Schools. I would like to personally say thank you on behalf of the board to Dr. Jordan for all of her hard work, for this, all the kinks and things that have happened. She has really, really worked through that, and also to our IT team. Just stepping up to the plate, meeting the need. It's uncharted territory, and I just want them to know they are doing a phenomenal job, and the board does not.
Yep.
It does not go by the board. We recognize it, and we are
She-
very appreciative.
They've all worked very, very hard, and I will tell you, the parents that we have dealt with realize that this is something new that we've never, that no district has ever really entered into, so they have been very patient and very kind, a great group of people to work with.
We would be remiss not to also say thank you to Kelly,
Yes.
an unbelievable leader through something that nobody could have expected. You sit and you watch news and social media and watch the world around you furious about school or not school or virtual or in person, and you sit back and you look at your hometown and see everybody doing what they need to do, and everybody seems to be doing just fine.
Yeah. Week 1 down.
Week one down.
I got a text message from our regional court office, the director there, and they were gathering information in Nashville, wanting to know how many, if we had any classrooms or schools currently closed due to COVID. And I was like, man, does she really have to ask that question? So I'm knocking all kinds of wood, and I'm like, we are fully open at this time, and if you have jinxed me, you are falling off my Christmas list. Don't ask me that question. But so far, week 1, all's going well.
Sounds wonderful. Any further questions or comments? All right. Thank you to all. This meeting is adjourned.